obey the Lord and His standards. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Good, good. I just had a quick question. I know you were riding by, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I had a question.
Yeah.
What happens to me if I die and I'm not a member of the LDS organization?
Well, when we die, our body goes into the ground, and our spirit goes to a place called the spirit world. And there we continue to learn and grow, much like we're doing here. And we await the resurrection and second coming of Christ. In which case our spirits will be reunited with our bodies, and we will be able to, they will never be separated again. And then we're judged according to our desires of our hearts and our willingness to obey the will of the Lord.
So that's if we're not part of LDS, that is if we are?
That is everyone.
So what would be the benefit of joining your organization versus, because if that happens for everyone, like you explained before, why can't I just be a Jehovah's Witness? Why can't I be a Seventh-day Adventist? Why can't I be going to this place, the Roman Catholic rape machine where they rape children?
Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou. Hold on, there, I'm cleaning up here. Live for you on LouTube today, and welcome to yet another edition of Your Season is Over. This is week 14, 2020 edition of the Your Season is Over video. I do apologize for missing this video last week. I hate that happened. This is one of my favorite videos that I do during the season. Is Your Season is Over. But as you know, I was out of town for Thanksgiving, and we were in West Virginia, and we left at 4 in the morning, Sunday morning, and had to drive back here, a 10-hour drive or so. And I just, if I would have made, so I could have made the video at 4 or 5 in the afternoon or something when we got home, but it wouldn't have been any good. I mean, I was like a zombie. I was like The Walking Dead. No energy. I would sleep early. Anyway, so I apologize for that. But back today, week 14, and man, we have an amazing list of losers this week, don't we? Let's just run through some teams that lost, and then we'll, I'll tell you about your season is over teams. Who lost? Well, LSU lost. My God, they got absolutely destroyed by Alabama. This was hard to watch. This almost looked like a mercy killing. It was like, I don't know. You remember the old Faces of Death videos? It was like watching that. Like you can watch a movie and see 100 people get killed and it has like no effect on you because you know it's a movie. This was like watching an actual death. 55-17, and let's be real, corn dogger. They scored 45 in the first half. They could have scored 60 or 70 on you. They clearly had mercy on you in the second half. I know that there was only 4 players playing in the game yesterday for LSU that actually played last year. I get that. But my God, look at your recruiting. There's no reason for LSU to be this bad. Now, maybe it's a combination of things. Maybe it's everybody that left for the NFL, everybody that opted out, injuries this late in the season, coronavirus, no off season, losing Joe Brady as your basically your offensive coordinator, even though that wasn't his title. That's really what he was. I guess LSU fans are willing to accept this season for what it is by listing all those excuses. LSU better be a lot better next year. This is hard to understand how LSU has gotten this bad this fast. Everybody dealt with coronavirus. Everybody dealt with opt-outs. Everybody deals with injuries late in the season. Everybody loses coaches from time to time. Everybody loses their star quarterback from time to time. It's hard to understand how LSU was this bad. This game was never competitive, but you got blown out. Your season's been over a long time ago. But, man, this is an embarrassing loss here. What else do we have here? Wisconsin, man, 14-6 to Indiana. Now, we know Wisconsin's had some issues with coronavirus and quarterback issues, but Indiana lost their quarterback for the year with torn ACL. Now, we know Indiana's pretty good. They gave Ohio State a good game, 42-35, but that quarterback that kept them in that game, he wasn't in this game. And your defense, you held them to 14 points with their backup quarterback who's never played before. Great, but you could only score 6. This is bad. 14-6 to Indiana with their backup QB. That's your second loss, isn't it? Your season was technically over with 1 loss because the Big Ten's playing so few games. Hey, here's the thing. Forget the whole your season is over thing and making the jokes every week when teams lose. If you're in the Big Ten or the Pac-12, 1 loss and your season really is over in terms of making the playoffs. It's just not happening. There are too many other teams that have played, 8, 9, 10, 11 in some cases games, and a 12th game coming up maybe for a conference title. There's too many of those teams that would be way ahead of you even if they had 1 loss. So you can't, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten can't have any losses. Any of the teams that want to get in the, it just won't happen, no matter who it is. And there's a couple of teams in the Pac-12 now that fall into that category that we'll talk about in a minute. But Wisconsin, your season was over with 1 loss. It's definitely over now. You did try hard, I guess, against Indiana, though. I don't know what else to say. Marshall, man, disappointing loss for Marshall. I, of course, toured the Marshall campus last week. Saw him practicing. This was, I don't think anybody saw this loss coming. They lost to Rice. Rice was 1-2. They'd only played 3 games. They were 1-2, and they beat you 21-0. Marshall's quarterback, who I've been talking about all year, is a good player and fun to watch, and blah, blah, blah. You know how I get hooked on 4 or 5 players a year. He was one of them. Boy, he played like hot doo-doo confirmed yesterday. 5 interceptions for the Thundering Herd. No, Thundering Turd. Yeah, 21-0. Sorry, Marshall. Season over. Oklahoma State, another team whose season was over a while ago. But how did you lose to TCU? You've got to try real hard to lose to TCU. You honestly do. TCU is not a good team. They're one of these teams that puts together a good season once every 5 years or so. This isn't one of those 5 years. Things were so set up for Oklahoma State this year to win the Big 12, and they're not even going to make the Big 12 title game. This is a damn shame. Oklahoma loses, 2 of their first 3 games. Texas is in the toilet. Oklahoma State had all this firepower coming back on offense. One of, if not the best returning quarterbacks in the Big 12. one of, if not the best returning running backs in the Big 12, and one of, if not the best returning wide receivers in the Big 12. And you guys have just gone out week after week and taken a giant poo-poo at midfield. And you did it again yesterday, losing to TCU 29-22. Pitiful. Oregon, listen, I've been done with Oregon since last week. If there's a way to be more done with somebody, then I'm more done with you now. And I don't know what Mario Cristobal is doing, but the Alabama job is slipping through your fingertips, sir. You can't be sliding this plate of poop out on the field and expecting to get a decent job down the road. You lost to Cal 21-17. Cal was winless. Cal was 0-3. Now, I gave Oregon way too much credit in the offseason. That's on me. And I gave them way too much benefit of the doubt when they barely beat two bad teams to start the season out. And now they've gone out and lost 2 games in a row. This is pitiful. The Pac-12 is down. Oregon has out-recruited every team in the Pac-12 over the last few years, and it hasn't been close. I know they lost Justin Herbert. That's no excuse. This is pitiful. This is an embarrassing performance in this game and this season for Oregon, and someone needs to be answering some questions about that. This is unacceptable. Oregon fans, and yeah, there are some on this channel. This is absolutely unacceptable what you're doing here. You should be embarrassed and ashamed, honestly. You really should. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a noise? Did Georgia Tech win or lose yesterday? See, you have no idea. But they lost 23-13. No one knows because no one cares. Georgia Tech is an absolute dumpster fire of a program. Jeff Collins, greatest recruiting class in Georgia Tech history last year. It's not showing up on the field right now. Now, maybe give him another year or two. I know he inherited a triple option roster, but this is pitiful, losing to NC State 23-13. You're now 3-6. Congratulations. I don't know what else to tell you. The only good thing about Georgia Tech this year is that they dodged Georgia. That's it, because Georgia would have beat them by 50 points. They're a terrible team. Their team this year is probably worse than any team Paul Johnson ever had. It's pitiful. It's absolutely embarrassing. You can't find no Georgia Tech fans anymore. You can't. They come out every once in a while. Well, I told you they're like a groundhog, these Georgia Tech fans. They poke their head out of their hole once a year, usually around Thanksgiving when they're getting ready to play Georgia. They look around. They say, okay, are we any good? No. Is Georgia any good? Yeah. Okay. And they go back in the hole. And then once every 10 years or so, when they think they have a chance to beat UJ, they'll stick around for a week or two until reality sets in. Then they disappear back into their Pokemon caves or Magic the Gathering clubs or whatever it is they do when they're not pretending to care about football, which they don't. Congratulations, nerds. Your season was over a long time ago, but NC State beat the bejesus out of you. South Carolina, hit the thumbs up right now if you want me to make a South Carolina video later today. What are you doing? What are you doing? Shane Beamer? I could talk for an hour about it, but that's not what this video is about. But my God, do I have some thoughts and opinions on this Shane Beamer hire, which apparently is coming down the road awfully fast. But you lost to Kentucky. Listen, I want you to listen to this. 41-18. How many games do I have to add up for Kentucky before I get to 41 points? I didn't think, have they scored 41 points this entire season? I honestly don't know, but they scored 41 on you and beat the soul out of you, 41-18. Congratulations, South Carolina. You just finished your season 2-8. My God. My God. When they came out with this 10-game SEC schedule, people looked around and they went, uh-oh, Arkansas could go 0-10 or 1-9. Vandy could go 0-10 or 1-9. Nobody said that about South Carolina. Not even me. I thought you'd win 4 games or so. My God, this is humiliating. 2-8. You know what I'd like to see? Here, you know what I would really like to see? I would love to see a bowl game rematch between Tennessee and South Carolina. My God, are there 2 worse teams and programs in the SEC or in America than Tennessee and South Carolina? Remember that game way back in week 1? A good game. Tennessee pulled it out at the end, and we were like, man, I don't really know what to think about this. Maybe both teams are good. I don't know. Maybe, blah, blah, blah. Turns out both teams are absolute mush doo-doo. Wouldn't you love to see South Carolina versus Tennessee in a couple of weeks in the Who Gives a Shit Bowl? Oh, my God. 2 terrible teams. But here's the season is over, teams. Here we go. Up first, You already know BYU. Shout out to my boys over at Coastal Carolina. Uncle Lou's new second favorite team, the Chanticleers. Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! Let's go, Coastal Carolina. In all seriousness, what a great game this was. A great game, a back and forth game. Coastal Carolina took the lead with 27-22, I think. BYU gets the ball back with not much time left. They get just about down to midfield, 40, 30-yard line of Coastal Carolina, something like that. Last play of the game, they complete a pass down to about the 3-yard line. The guy struggles, whatever, and Coastal Carolina makes the tackle as time expires on the 1-yard line, preventing BYU from scoring, which of course would have given them the win. So great game, but BYU, your season is over. This was you get this whole anybody, any place, anytime. Bullshit. You dodged Washington. You dodged Washington, BYU. First of all, no one respected you to start with for obvious reasons, mainly that revolve around your hypocritical institution. So no one took you seriously. The Big 12 won't even take you. That's how much a joke of a program BYU is. The Big 12 is so desperate for relevant teams, they don't know what to do. They can't see their hand in front of their face. They're so desperate for any relevant team, and they voted unanimously. Nobody ever votes unanimously on anything. They voted unanimously to keep your sorry piddly dump asses out of the Big 12, and honestly, that's the best decision the Big 12 has ever made, to keep you out. But no, you don't belong in the playoffs. No, you don't belong in the top 10. Stop crying about where you're ranked because you were 8-0 or whatever you were and beat a bunch of terrible teams that nobody can even name right now off the top of their head. Nobody can name them. And then Washington says, we'll play you. You said no. Well, we'll take Coastal Carolina instead. Well, how'd that work out? It's a long bicycle ride from South Carolina back to Provo, Utah. Ain't it? Yeah, it is. Maybe you can stop at every other neighborhood you come to, knock on their doors, and harass a bunch of innocent people who don't give 2 hoots or a country holler what kind of pamphlets you got to hand out. Stop bothering people on the weekends. That's family time, and your season is overtime. It's 2020. Get on the goddamn internet, you fucking morons. Quit bothering people in their goddamn house. Sorry about that. It's about an hour later now, and I have calmed down some. I got a little carried away there, but BYU, God bless, thoughts and prayers. Your season is over. Washington, your season is over. You were one of the last hopes in the Pac-12. That's out the window. You lost to Colorado. How? No one knows. Not Colorado. I'm sorry. You lost to Stanford. You lost to damn Stanford, 31-26. You lost to the tree. You lost to a tree. Let that sink in. A terrible tree too. Colorado and Southern Cal are now the only 2 undefeated teams left in the Pac-12. And to be honest, Colorado might be better than Southern Cal. And that's not really me bragging on Colorado. That's me stating my disappointment so far in Southern Cal, but we'll see what happens. But I don't think anyone cares. You're still in first place in the North, I guess. Pac-12 North 3-1, because Oregon has shit the bed twice and you've only done it once. I can't get... Every time I stare down at this paper and see BYU, the goddamn... Auburn, your season is over. You lost again. No one is surprised. Texas A&M 31-20. And guess what else, Barner? You listening to me? Listen to Uncle Lou. Listen. You choked. You choked. You blew a lead. What'd you do? You were winning 20-14 in the fourth quarter and lost 31-20 to the Cadets. Congratulations. What an abysmal program Auburn is. What an absolute joke. No, you're not firing Gus Malzahn. Get over it. You're stuck with this guy. Read option. Beep, boop. You're stuck with him another year. Bo Nix. What a joke. Bo Nix. No touchdown passes. I think you scampered in a couple of times. No one cares. You lost. Season was over a long time ago. You literally lost to... Didn't you lose to everybody that matters? Did you beat LSU? I guess that's enough for Gus to keep his job. Whee! Oh, y'all stuck with that high school PE teacher. Sorry, he's not going anywhere. You got Bo Nix again next year, too. How's that make you feel? Probably not very good. Tennessee, oh, God, you're 2-6 now. after getting obliterated by Florida. Please don't try to tell me it was a close game, 31-19. 31-19. You scored 12 points in the fourth quarter, 2 touchdowns and 2 missed 2-point conversions. Okay, so what's 19 minus 12? 7. Really, this game was 31-7. They could have scored more than 31. You scored 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter against Florida's walk-on defense. Congratulations. Please tell me you're not here to brag that you only lost to Florida by 11 points. This game was an absolute blowout from the word go. How many quarterbacks have you played? 3 literally everybody played quarterback for Tennessee except Jarrett Garandudu and BVD. Literally everybody else got an opportunity to play at quarterback for Tennessee, and none of them looked very impressive. Yeah, Harrison Bailey and what's his name, Shrout, whatever, they completed a high percentage of passes, a high percentage of screen passes and hitch passes. I think they averaged 7 yards per completion or something like that. This was a bunch of 2-yard curls and hitch passes and swing routes to the running back. Not impressive against a terrible Florida defense. Not only is your season over, your program is dead. You know it, I know it, the American people know it. Y'all want Pruitt fired so bad you can't stand it. It's not happening. Pruitt's not getting fired. It's not happening. Who do you got? They got 2 games left, Vandy and Texas A&M. I'll be surprised if that Vandy game gets played. I'm just being real. I'll be surprised if the Vandy game gets played this week. So you're probably looking at 1 game left. That's Texas A&M. And that's like a playoff game for Texas A&M. I mean, they've got to win that game convincingly, really, to try to convince the playoff committee maybe they deserve a spot. They're going to beat the life out of you. It's just what it is. So if you play Vandy, you might get 1 more win, maybe. But this is looking to me like a 2-7 season for Tennessee. And it's time to sit down and realize it's time to come to the conclusion. There's no other logical conclusion to come to. Butch Jones, Lyle, is better than Jeremy Pruitt. You downgraded. Sorry, you did. You downgraded. BYU, Washington, Tennessee, and Auburn, your season is over. Heisman list. This is getting pretty easy to do. It hasn't really changed much all year. Trask, Jones, Fields, Trevor Lawrence. Those are the top 4. I think Trask and Jones are the 2 front runners. And honestly, Trask is probably a little bit ahead right now. We'll see what happens in the SEC title game in a couple of weeks. Whoever has the better game, likely to win the Heisman, in my opinion. We'll see. Justin Fields, amazing. What did he do yesterday? Nothing. Same thing he always does. 300 and something total yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Just another day at the office for the best quarterback UGA's ever signed. And I'm not getting started on that. I've already done enough yelling, and my heart rate is already through the damn roof. Trevor Lawrence is the best college player. He's going to get drafted first. He missed a couple of games. He has a loss. No one else on this list does. I think Trevor's probably on the outside looking in, along with Justin Fields, because he's not going to play enough games. I honestly think it's down to Trask and Mac Jones, but Fields and Trevor deserve to be at least mentioned. Best teams. Well, to me, one team has separated themselves from everyone else, and that's Alabama. They're the most complete team. They're blowing everyone out. Their defense is getting better every single week. Their offense, Devontae Smith is not even human, this guy. Another 200-something yards yesterday. Alabama appears to be able to score whenever they want to. They have separated themselves, to me, from every other team. I think right now they would clearly be a favorite over any other team and would probably beat any other team. Now, they're not playing right now. Playoffs are still 3-4 weeks away, so we'll see. But to me, you have Alabama in a league of their own right now. You got 3 teams after that, in my opinion. Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State. Ohio State may be the best of those 3, but I haven't seen Ohio State play but, 5 games. Supposed to play Michigan this week. That game needs to happen. We'll see if it does. Then maybe a Big Ten title game for Ohio State, if they have enough games to qualify. If they don't have enough games to qualify, don't worry. The Big Ten will change the rules to suit Ohio State, which is going to piss a lot of people off. And in my opinion, rightfully so. You knew coronavirus. You knew games were going to get canceled. You knew games weren't going to be able to get played. So you made a rule that said you have to play this many games to qualify. That way you don't have a team that's 2-0 getting in over a team that's 5-1 or whatever. But now you want to change the rules just to get Ohio State in. And I'm not saying Ohio State's not the best team in the Big Ten. They clearly are. But if I was the team that was going to get in instead of Ohio, imagine if you were a fan of the team that's in second place and was going to get in the Big Ten title game, and they come out and change the rules just to put Ohio State in. It's going to be a mess. And then I think you got 3 teams after that: Texas A&M, Florida, and Cincinnati. Your playoff teams are coming from those teams. It's a matter of who wins these next games over the next couple of weeks, and of course, who wins the conference championship games, and where the playoff committee decides to rank some of these people and what they do with Cincinnati, right? But to me, those are the 7 teams that you need to talk about when you talk about the playoffs. Who won and looked good? Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Miami beat Duke 48-0. Amazing! First time since, well, hell, I don't even remember when did Miami beat somebody by more than 1 touchdown. Congratulations. You beat a terrible Duke team. Play North Carolina this week, though. We'll see what happens. See what happens. There you go. That's it. Your season is over video. Oh, man, what a great video. Thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think about South Carolina, I guess, hiring a tight ends coach to be a head coach. And if maybe I'll make a video and yell about that later. Have a great morning.